Very good. So we're going to get started. It's wonderful to see all of you here. I hope that you come back next year and we have this great audience again. So I wanna start by introducing myself. I'm Jacques Noor, and I want to say to you that it is truly an honor and a privilege to be trusted to do this job. That's how I see it. I must confess to you that when I arrived here 31 years ago as a graduate student in pediatric dentistry, I would never imagine that I would have this honor to serve as dean of our school. So I really, really appreciate your support. I appreciate your trust. And I want to start by saying perhaps the most important thing of today is that I'll give my very best to deserve your honor, to deserve your trust, and to deserve this honor to serve as dean. I know that I'm going to make mistakes, but I also know that with your help, we are going to fix these mistakes and move on and be stronger at the end. So that's perhaps is the most important thing that I want to say to you. I prepare about a half an hour to leave plenty of time for having a conversation, have questions and answers. But also with the understanding that there is some food waiting for us in the reception here. So I don't want to delay you too much. But it's important to share with you where we are and some of the key points of where we want to go in terms of future. Okay, so our agenda for today is to do a very quick recap on the last year, talk about our finances and our personnel, then share with you the vision that we have for some aspects of the future. Now, this is a vision that is work in progress, so there is more work to be done. And as we move forward, we'll get more and more your input and help shaping up this vision, and then have some time for questions and answers. So instead of having a number of slides and to talk about the last year, Ray helped me out here with his team to put together a very brief video that's going to highlight some of the main happenings of last year. So let's enjoy it. Let me just do one thing here. Okay. Excellent. So lots to celebrate. Yeah. A whole lot to thank to Jan too. So Jen served as our interim dean. She accepted this responsibility on a very short notice, and she did a truly superb job as our dean during this transition time. So help me thank Jen for that. A whole lot to thank Lori too, right? So a big issue, a big event of last year was the inauguration of the renewed school. So Blue Renew touched on our lives, each one of us, in many different, in sometimes very drastic ways. But we managed to go through. I of course, we all are in debt to Lori for her leadership in this process. She did an absolutely terrific job in very difficult circumstances. We also have to thank Erica Hans because she really shepherded all this process every day with grace and kindness and really doing the very best for all of us here. So let's thank Lori and Erica too. And so many of you like Mike, Marianne, who supported this process in such a wonderful and kind way. So we are all very thankful to each one of you. So we are now enjoying this renovated building. We of course have state-of-the-art clinics now, and truly this renovation positioned the school very well for the next 10, 15, or 20 years. While during this time we can enjoy this beautiful clinic facilities. We still have some work to do, right? There are classrooms that have to be renovated yet. There is a research tower that is about 50 years old without ever having received any renovation. There are areas in the Kellogg building that still need to be renovated too. We'll get there. We are working very closely with Kerry Towns and Development Office, Jeff, and all the team there to work towards their goal of moving forward this process, of course, also with support from Lori and the Provost Office. We'll get there. So very complicated slide, but now we need to talk a little bit about finances. I'm gonna try to walk you through this slide and talk with you about how finances are managed within the University of Michigan. So the university has two ways to allocate resources. One in that yellow arrow there, that is discretionary monies that are determined by the provost. And the other one that is the green arrow here, that is activity-based allocation of resources. So let's start here from the left side and walk through this, and you'll understand how finances are managed here at the university. So the provost last year in fiscal year of 23 allocated a total of $68 million to the dental school. But the provost office gets some of that money back, and it was about $22 million. About a third of it went back to the provost office in the form of facilities costs and taxes and financial aid. Okay, so the net that the school received from the provost was about $46 million, which is right here. Okay, now if we break down what the provost allocates to us, we see that we received about $22 million in general fund supplements. We received about $35 million in tuition and fees, $5 million in indirect costs, and 4.8 million in one-time commitments. These are for special initiatives, primarily that we have in the school. And as I said to you, some of this money flows back to the provost office in form of facilities costs and taxes and financial aid. So $46 million is really what the school received from the provost. And then there are other allocations, other sources of funding for the school. They are gifts and endowment distributions, close to $20 million, clinic revenues, close to 20 million, sponsor research, about 16. There was a little bit of FEMA money that we still received from the COVID times. And so this was a provider relief fund from FEMA of about $50,000. These monies are then distributed to the operating units. Each unit has its own budget. So you can see here the development office, DI, human resources, dean's office, all these different units received for their functioning about close to $10 million, as well as the departments. Our 5 departments received about $25 million in support. Now, the department has to pay back some of that in taxes too. So about $2 million were paid back from the department to the school on taxes, which is here, okay? Now, the school also support, the student aid, patient services at about $7 million, informatics close to 4, academic affairs close to 3, and there was a residual of money that still had to be allocated for Blue Renew, which was about $200,000. So this, in a nutshell, is how the monies come and flow from the provost to the school, to the units, and with the understanding that some of this money flows back to the school and to the provost office in form of taxes. The taxes are really what maintain the whole university operating. So for example, in research, we pay taxes to cover the cost of ORSSP, which manages grants centrally. Clinically, there are functions that are managed centrally too. And so those taxes that are paid back from the school back to the provost office is to cover those central expenses. Now let's break down this in sources and uses. In the top row, you have sources. In the back row, we have uses for these monies. In terms of sources, again, we talked about general funds. General funds come from the provost office. And here, each bar is a year. So you have here FY19 through 23. So I'm going to focus more on the light bars, which are the 23 data, the more recent data. But you can see the trends over these last 5 years. So general funds was about $43 million. Indirect cost recovery, that's for research. So whenever we get a grant, there is an indirect cost associated with that grant, which comes to the university and the school to manage that grant. So indirect cost was about $5.5 million. This is clinic revenue, about 20 million in 23. Sponsor research, about close to $17 million. Gifts and endowment distribution, close to 8 or about 8. And other activities and transfers. Other activities would be CE courses, for example. Transfers could be one-time allocations from the provost office. Total about $11 million. So this is the breakdown of our sources, the monies that came into the school over the last year. Most of this money is spent on salaries for staff and faculty. So here again, for faculty salaries, close to $20 million in 23 fiscal year, close to $25 million for staff salaries and fringe benefits that were associated with the salaries. Then we have a pretty steady flow monies to cover financial aid for our students, in a fair amount of resources that are spent on supplies. These are both clinic supplies and research supplies that were spent over the year. This is about $26 million. You see that transfers to construction are close to zero by now. So essentially the construction is essentially paid. And finally, in terms of numbers of staff and faculty, what you see here is the last 5-6 years. You see that there was a dip, there was a decrease in number of staff and faculty during COVID times, which is essentially here 2021. And we are starting to see a slow rebound now. So in terms of faculty numbers, we are getting close to where we were in 2019, pre-COVID. In terms of staff, we are starting to rebound a little bit slower, but we are on our way to rebound also in terms of staff. And of course, as we recruit back staff, there is a whole process that is led by Karen and her team in HR to look at different necessities that we have in the school and where we can best allocate these resources in terms of staff support. Very good. So this was about the past. Now let's take a look on the future. So what I would like to do here is to give you very concrete examples of things that worry me, that concern me about the school, areas that we are putting effort in trying to address. Some of these areas, there is already quite a bit of activity. I'm going to share this activity with you. Some of these areas we still have to do quite a bit of work. But I would like to start here with a focus on the pre-doctoral program. I think that one thing that we all agree is that we need more patients for our pre-doctoral students for their clinical training. So one of the issues that I think that to me is very important is that from my time as a general dentist in my private practice, is one of the best ways to get more patients is to treat them very well and very quickly when they need it, when they are in pain, when there is an emergency. So I think that we need to focus not only on admission of patients, but also taking care of their emergencies. Because I know that a patient that is treated for an emergency is a patient that tends to stay with the practice. So we are putting quite a bit of effort on bringing really emergencies, the actual treatment of emergencies back to pace, not only referrals, but actual treatment. So if a patient walks in with a pulp necrosis and an abscess and in pain, we would like to see that pain being treated in the PACE clinic. So we are now in this process of arranging for scheduling of these patients and also additional training for staff to be able to do these treatments in PACE. So lots of conversations with Associate Dean Romesh, Nalia, as well as Patty Durr on bringing, again, emergencies back to PACE. So our goal is to treat emergencies within 24 hours and see new patients within 2 weeks. In terms of admissions of patients, we need to speed up the process. There was quite a bit of a wait list in our PACE. We are trying to eliminate this wait list and now seeing these patients more quickly. This will involve also some direct assignments of patients directly from the phone call to the clinics to eliminate these bottlenecks in patient admissions. And finally, we need to take advantage of the fact that we are so well respected throughout the world as a dental school. and do some marketing, do more marketing to bring these patients here to the school. We've started these conversations many years ago with Ray and his team, and we're going to resume these conversations now in terms of once we have a good system in place to accommodate and move these patients along to the clinic, start some additional marketing to bring more patients here to the school and retain them here. The next area that is of focus to me is the expectations that we have for patient care, particularly in the predoctoral clinics. So the idea here is that that we have some work to do in terms of aligning preclinical training with clinical training. I teach in the preclinic I teach the D1s every Tuesday afternoon. And I know that some of the things that we work with the D1s there are a bit different as compared to how we expect our students to treat patients in the clinic. This difference has to be eliminated. So we need to work on consistency, especially for the pre-doctoral education, which is really, really important. And that involves calibration. So there has been a very strong effort in quite a few of our departments, if not all, in terms of enhancing more the whole process of faculty calibration, because that calibration will allow us to improve this alignment here between preclinical and clinical teaching. So overall, really, we know that we do a great job with our patients. Can we do better? Can we raise the bar a little bit further? That's the goal here. That's going to involve CAD/CAM and 3D printing. There's no question about it. Dentistry is going in that direction. So here there is a strong effort into, and we are going to be talking a little bit about this in the next slide, a strong effort to improve our ability to deliver CAD/CAM and 3D printing technologies to our patients. But here is an example of a clinical case where a patient shows up with this restoration here in this premolar, this class 2 composite there, that was clearly defective. And one of our D4 students did a wonderful job restoring this cavity here. Now, this is a beautiful restoration, but unfortunately, not every one of our restorations done here look like this. So we know that we can do it. The issue here is consistency. Can we do it consistently? And can we have this expectation of excellence consistently throughout our preclinic, our predoctoral clinics? That's our goal. That's our long-term objective here. So now talking about digital dentistry, the vision is this. The vision is to have a digital laboratory in support of our student predoctoral student experiences with digital dentistry. So the focus is really on in-house manufacturing, and that again will require this digital lab. So what we want to do is be able to do same-day procedures for crowns and inlays and in some of these selected cases for many reasons. One is that many of our patients travel many hours to come here. So if we were able to do same-day procedures, we would increase the access of care to these patients. Another way to increase access of care, which is something very close to me and very important to me, is by reducing the cost. So if instead of paying an external lab for profit to do a crown, if we can have this crown done internally here in a core facility that by rule should not have any profit, a core facility within the University of Michigan has to operate at a zero profit zero gain, then we can decrease the cost of this procedure for our patients. And we have limited experience with this, doing endocrowns in the endo and the restorative clinic. We would like to expand this to the whole school and reduce the price, hopefully, of these procedures for our students. So we have some plans. The plans I'm sharing with you here for the first time. This is still a draft for the digital lab. Essentially, the idea here is to use the G310 laboratory, that old simulation laboratory that we had that was not renovated, G310, the office for research, or used to be here, now is academic affairs, I believe, right besides. Here is G311, this small classroom that we use quite a bit. So G310 is this area here. Here in G310, we would like to have some workstations, and here have both milling and 3D printing equipment. Using an adjacent lab, very small lab here in G311A, which is just besides G311, as an area for finishing procedures, because finishing procedures generate a whole lot of dust. So we want to separate finishing from this area here where these crowns are going to be manufactured. So that's the concept. There is a whole lot of people working on this. Leaders of this effort here have been Gisele and Cassandra, but with the support of Mike Folk and Erica Hans and so many others, the whole digital committee has made important input to this process here. This is something that I see as a priority. We've been talking about this for a long time. We want to make this happen as soon as possible. Okay. One key component also to improve patient care is learn from our mistakes. So that's where learning health systems come to play. That's an effort that is led by Alex da Silva and a whole group of folks that are involved in this effort here. The bottom line for me for learning health systems is to be able to analyze the data that come from our patients, the outcomes of the procedures that we do in our patients, and understanding where the mistakes are, where the errors are, use that data to develop new decision trees or revised decision trees that allow us to eliminate or minimize those mistakes. So the concept of learning health systems, when it's put in practice within a hospital or a clinic, may have a profound impact on the long-term quality, the long-term outcome of the procedures that are done in that clinic. So we really want to support this effort because we think that it's critically important, not only from a research side, but also from a patient care standpoint and delivery of care standpoint. And finally, we, in terms of the clinic, we really need to embrace the concept that dentistry today is multidisciplinary. So we need to talk with each other. We need to talk with each other. We need to work together. Within the school, Dr. Peter Yeman has done a tremendous job bringing together different specialties and helping us with complex patients, manage these patients. We also need to talk with each other within the context of IPE, interprofessional education. And here is an area where Mark Fitzgerald and Nikki Swire and so many others here have really championed this concept of interprofessional education and how it applies to our interaction here with other schools. Interprofessional education, not important only because it is a CODA requirement, and it is, but really because interprofessional education makes all of us better. Now, talking about CODA, we have accreditation coming up. and I see a smile in Carlos' face here. He is shepherding us in this process, but really is a team work. It involves pretty much every one of us here. So I want to first thank Carlos and thank each one of you for all your efforts into accreditation process. I also want to say to you that the work is not quite done yet. We still have some work to do. So if you get an email from his team asking you for some information or asking you for help, please help them out. We are in the final stretch now. We need to have this document, the self-study, ready by the end of the year. It still needs to go through final editing in putting all of it together because it has to be sent to CODA, our accreditation body, in the beginning of, in January. And then what Carlos and team are planning to do is a series of prep sessions with us here to prep all of us for the CODA site visit, which is going to happen on March 26th and 28th. So please don't plan vacations for March 26th, 28th. We really need you here. And in support of the school. Accreditation happens every 7 years only, but it's critically important to keep us going. So please participate, get engaged, and I'm sure that will be great. Very good. So critical to all that we do is our staff. And I feel that it is critically important that we work as a school to further enhance our sense of belonging, our sense of being a part, an important part of all that we do. The school would not function without our staff. So we owe to our staff all that we do. So the vision here is really work as a group, as a school, not only to recruit our staff, but also to welcome, create this, again, sense of community and belonging. And importantly, through that sense of community and belonging, retain our staff here. We have experienced quite a bit of turnover over the last few years for many different reasons. But we really need to work as a school to have an environment, to have a school where our staff feel included, feel important as they are, and that they stay with us here. So as a part of this, Karen Proctor-Wicks and her team together with us will be looking into reevaluation and expansion of job classifications to see if we can create more opportunities for our staff here, and of course support professional development for our staff as a way also to create value in staying at the school, staying with us, working together here. Couple of slides in terms of vision for research. We have 4 very well-established teams on research here in the school. These teams are on cancer, craniofacial growth, tissue engineering, and clinical population sciences. I see these teams as very representative of what we have in the school. Also, I see these teams as guiding for allocation of resources and hiring of faculty when the opportunity arrives. I also feel that these 4 teams can be further enhanced by incorporation of strong artificial intelligence and bioinformatics expertise. I mean, the world is really moving in that direction. And I feel that with artificial intelligence, we talked a little bit about this in a faculty meeting recently. There's 2 ways to go about artificial intelligence. One is to be scared of and to be afraid of. Because there are negative things that can come with artificial intelligence, the other way to look at it is really embrace it. And that's what the University of Michigan has done. University of Michigan has embraced artificial intelligence. You know, we now have a new website where we can find resources. We have now our own University of Michigan GPT that can be used to understand and to further our work. So the way that I look at it is really embracing this technology rather than being scared of it, rather than moving away from it. And to embrace it, we need expertise. We need people that really understand it and use it to help us out in this process. So the challenge that we have is that we are already number one, and we need to maintain ourselves there. We are number one, not only because of research, but also because of our clinical programs and everything that we do here. But it's a difficult spot to stay, because if we kind of get too complacent about this, we are going to certainly lose that position, right? So what do we need to maintain our standing? We of course need to continuously work on recruitment of talent, but not only recruit talent, but then when the talent is here, support this talent, right? And so best ways to support new talent in terms of research and discovery is really having a support system that now Christiane Squarizi and her team are putting together all these launch committees, not only for tenure track faculty, but also for clinical track faculty. Critically important for the early years of a new faculty here in the school. And then for those who do research that require lab, they need adequate lab space. But perhaps the most important thing is time, protected time, right? If one wants to do competitive NIH level research, one needs to have time, because that person will be competing against full-time researchers. And pretty much none of us here is a full-time researcher. But we need time to be able to compete successfully with those who are applying for the same grant applications that we are, but have much more time available than perhaps many of us have. So today, you may or not know this, but only 44% of the NIDCR funding, the National Institutes for Dental and Craniofacial Research funding, goes to dental schools. 56% of the money from the Dental Institute goes to medical schools, to engineering schools, to other schools. And I think that a big reason for that is because many times in dental schools, we just don't have enough time protected to be competitive at the same level as they are. And as in clinical practice, research is also a multidisciplinary game. It's a multidisciplinary, especially as we look at research today in 2023. So one thing that I think that is wonderful about the school here is this proximity between the researchers and the clinicians. So having those teams of researchers and clinicians working together is critically important for the success of our research efforts here. Many of us are researchers and clinicians, right? DDS, PhDs, which is also a strength that we have here in the school. With Vesa Kartinen and his team, we will be looking into possibilities of further enhancing interactions between clinicians and researchers, as well as developing some pilot grant opportunities that involve these types of collaborations between different specialties. And of course, we need to collaborate with other schools. One of the things that was very clear from the recent research report that the university provided to us is that there will be an emphasis university-wide for more multidisciplinary large grant proposals involving faculty from different units. And we have to be a significant part of those opportunities. So to kind of wrap it up here, my part is I think that we are also very happy that the renovation is finished and that now we can focus back on our people, on our students, on our patients. Not that we neglected them before, but there was so much happening here that affected each one of us life. Now it's time to refocus our efforts and really make a very strong effort as a group, as a community, to support each other, to help each other in what we need, to stay together, to stay here at the dental school. Don't move away, stay here, and work with our patients and our students to do the best that we possibly can for them. So I want to thank each one of you for being here today, and for again for trusting me. As I said, I will work very hard not to disappoint you, knowing that I'm going to make mistakes along the way. So I want to have your understanding when I do mistakes, but I also count with you to let me know when I'm wrong. You know, and as a person with a 17-year-old son, I am frequently told that I'm wrong. So I'm very used to that. And I don't get upset. I love him to death. But the same thing here. I'm certainly here to serve the school, serve you, and do the best that I can. And I count with your help to achieve this. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So I think we have some time for questions. Is there any question or any comment? Yeah, Jen. Potential Brew Renew 2.0. So I look at the description for Blue Renew 2.0, the draft description that Erica put together, and Erica Hans, and the first reaction that I have was, oh my goodness, this is going to cost a lot because there is quite a bit to be done yet. Where we are now, we are going to submit this request now, and when we have this next opportunity to submit the request, actually the request was already submitted. We're going to see what happens with this year. In talking with the provost, I didn't get a whole lot of hope that we would get anything approved this year, but we made the request anyway. So I'm being very candid with you. What's going to happen here is that there is a whole university-wide effort now on the Campus 2050 long-term plans. So what I made sure when I met with the planners was to make them very clear to them that we are not finished yet, because all of a sudden the highlight of an area that would have to deserve attention yet disappeared from our dental school. And I said, no, we need to put it back there. So making sure that they understand that we are not quite done. There is a lot that is going to happen, of course, campus-wide. One of the things that I can share with you is that there is quite a bit of conversation about an innovation district in the North Campus. And so we're innovation district, meaning new educational buildings, research buildings, conference center, hotel, a whole new structure there. There's quite a bit of talk about ways to connect North Campus and Central Campus. So one possibility is a monorail type of investment. These are all in planning, very early in planning. Another possibility would be an enhanced system for buses that go back and forth with more frequency. But the point is that all of this is being planned now. And so what we hope is that we can, in the next year, really make a very strong case for including our school in that big plan and having it as one of the early priorities to get going right away. Because as you know, for example, the research tower was finished in '69 and no renovation was done yet. Our Kellogg building, there are very many areas that really need renovation too. And of course, classrooms that have not been renovated. So there's a lot of work to do. The positive thing here is that it's not gonna have as much of an impact on clinical operations because all the clinics are now done. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the presentation.
Sure.
So as a pre-doc student, I really appreciate the focus on the pre-doctor education.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about new patient initiatives and CAD camps. Is there a timeline for that?
Right. Oh, so the question is about from a pre-doctoral perspective, timelines for new patient initiatives, in particularly for CAD/CAM. Yeah. So in terms of the digital lab, what we are doing now is we are working with the architects to develop this plan. Once this plan is finalized, it's going to have to be sent centrally for approvals. And that typically takes about a year. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be much less than that. That probably I would be creating some false expectations here. So my hope is that we can get this digital lab done within the year of 2025. Okay, so that's my guess. You know, a calendar year of 2025. Okay. Now, some of the other patient initiatives like the PACE revamping, that's happening right now. So we having that conversation now, and we are making sure that this happens as soon as possible, because I think that there are so many trickle down effects on getting PACE at very high level. You know, it's gonna not only have an impact on access to patients and availability of patients, but also it's going to impact directly on the quality of the care that we give to our patients when they need the most, which is in an emergency situation. So that is something that is happening already. Okay, super. Any other question or comment, concern? Let's eat. Thank you so much for coming by. And there's a reception here in the Sigurd Museum. Thank you. Thank you.